From Scotland, special guest tonight on the studio. I've been looking forward to this one. They'll be performing live later on. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Gun.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Jules and Mark. Must get Jules and Mark, right?
Yeah.
Okay, singer and guitarist of Gun. I've forgotten my questions. They're down here somewhere. I actually interviewed you guys a couple of years ago, didn't I?
Yeah, that's right. And just when the first album was first released.
Yeah, and then since then, what have you been doing? You've been on tour with the Stones, of course.
Yeah,
on their Urban Jungle tour.
In fact, we did 18 months touring with that album. It wasn't, a hugely successful record as far as, sales goes, but we managed to go to a lot of countries and we played to a lot of people and we made a lot of friends, so it's set things up nicely for this album, which has just been released. And in fact, tomorrow night we start the British leg of the tour.
With Def Leppard?
No, with ourselves firstly.
Oh, you're doing your own tour first?
Yeah, and then we go into Europe for 3 weeks, and then we start Leopard on, I think, the 17th of June in Dublin. So, busy time for us.
So you're spending all of your time out on the road then?
Yeah, it's what we do best,
That's where you excel, yeah. Now, people who, you always read in the press, like, what do these pop stars do then for 2 years when, between albums? Have you just toured, or have you had a lot of time off to rethink Gun? You've got a new guitarist as well, haven't you, now?
You've got to get songs. When we came off tour the last time, we never did any songs. You need to understand, we were young guys going to these brilliant cities, Milan, Paris, Rome for the first time, So we sort of took in the sights, we went to the clubs, we had a good time, and we never wrote any songs. So we came back and suddenly everyone's going, right, you need to do a new album. And we thought, well, we've not got any songs. So we had to take a bit of time and write some stuff and try and get stuff that was better than the first album. But I think we've achieved that and we're very happy with what we've got now.
That's strange, that, isn't it? A bunch of friends getting together and, putting some music on vinyl or on CD, and then suddenly there's all these business people saying, right, I think that's really good. For the second album, we think you've got to do this. It's weird, that, isn't it? Yeah. You're not very happy with that side of it. You've got to do it.
We make music, that we like, and we tend not to get involved with the figures or the politics. You know what I mean? You make songs and you go out and play to people who like the band. The rest of it's a bit above me, I just let other people worry about that.
So let's talk about the new album. It's called Gallus, which I believe is Glaswegian slang for cool or the best.
Yeah. Well, the guy in the front of the album is a guy called Benny Lynch, who was first sort of a world champion Scottish boxer.
Yeah.
And that's what we were talking about, he was the best, he was the coolest boxer from Glasgow, probably I think he stayed about a mile away from where we live in Glasgow. That's who we're talking about.
Is it very important to you, your Glaswegian roots? So a lot of where you're coming from is because of Glasgow?
Yeah, we were born there, we lived there, for all our lives we've lived there. So obviously it's going to have an influence in your music. Yeah. I think it's more of an influence in your attitude towards things, because Glasgow's a working class city and people are quite, they're quite sort of strong opinionated, and they sort of, you tend to find that, if you look at bands like U2, and you look at, a lot of them came from the working classes, of cities like Dublin and Glasgow and Manchester, Liverpool, rather than the bigger places. It's strange, but Glasgow's the sort of place, as I say, we've lived there. And it's had an influence in our attitude more so than our music, because I think Glasgow's traditionally known for producing pop acts, more commercial pop acts. But I like to think of us as more of a rock act. So
you're a serious rock act. There's some serious guitar sounds on the album that we haven't heard for quite some time. It's good coming back with a new album at the time, like when people like Nirvana are all over the place.
Yeah.
Is that going to help you?
You can't knock what Nirvana's done. I think it can only help bands like ourselves. The whole Seattle thing. It's healthy for music because, tonight you were discussing the techno thing. Nirvana's a live band, a live rock and roll band who've crossed every barrier. We've been recently doing promotion all over Europe, and their single and their album's top 10 in every country in Europe. And that would never have happened. Radio in certain countries that never play rock are playing Nirvana. So that can only be healthy for guitar bands and for live bands like ourselves. So, it helps, I think, for the future. And
how do you feel about coming on tonight? Because you can't really explain in words the sounds of the album. It's a very powerful rock album. And here you are, you're going to strip it all down now with a couple of guitars and things. How do you feel about that?
That's how the songs were written.
Yeah, the songs, I think they always well, the way we write, you know, they should just be able to work from acoustic guitar
Yeah.
and vocal, and then the rest comes together, you know, with the rest of the band. But you know, should be good.
So you're off on a tour of your own, and then you're going to be touring with Def Leppard. Have you learnt anything from your big tour with the Stones? Are you going to approach it all a bit differently this time?
Well, I mean, when you form a band in Glasgow, you know, when you're young guys, say 17, 18 years old, you never know what you're going to achieve. You know, and when you've been used to just playing in clubs to a couple of hundred people, then suddenly, you know, we toured with Simple Minds. We'd done sort of 10, 15,000 capacity venues indoors. Then we went to the Stones, which was something that we'll probably never repeat again.
I never forget.
70, 80,000 people. For young guys, you know, that was something that was great experience. But that's very much in the past now. You know, we're really proud to have done that, and we learned an awful lot about playing to that amount of people. But it's right now it's all about this new album. You know, that's the most important thing. As I say, we start in Newcastle tomorrow, and the most important thing right now is playing to those people who turn up to see us tomorrow, because that's the real Gun fans. You know, the people who come and see us the next couple of months will be the people who come and see us in 5 years' time. You know.
Yeah, sure. Well, best of luck. We're building that big fan base all over Europe, I'm sure you will. Gallus is the new album, and you can see them on tour on their own and with Def Leppard pretty soon. And by the way, tune in on Friday night on MTV's Most Wanted. We'll be giving away tickets to see Def Leppard. Right now, though, here they are on video. Have you seen this one? Let's Get Rocked.
I have.
You have?
Yes.
Any opinions?
I like it. It's good. Suits Def Leppard. It's typical Def Leppard, and it's, you know, it's good for them. What can I say? They're doing well everywhere, so you can't knock that.
Here's the album. Give it a listen. It's